Racism is an ugly, gross, disgusting stain on the beautiful canvas that is soccer, the game of soccer. A stark reminder of this is the recent incident involving Vinicius Jr. as a player of Real Madrid during their match the other day against Valencia over the weekend. In the heat of the game, amid the roars of the crowd, everybody being excited to be a part of such a fun environment, there were obviously some nasty, disgusting, gross voices that stood out in the crowd. And those voices were chanting racist slurs at Vinicius Jr. And if you are unaware, they're basically, no, not basically, they were flat out calling him a monkey. They called the man a monkey. And it's just disgusting, and there's no place for it. As Real Madrid players arrived at the Mestalla Stadium, they were met with the normal jeers and boos that the away team should get. And likely, I would imagine that a team of Real Madrid stature really brings out the boos that the home crowd can really put on a show and booing against the side that's frankly got the quality that Real Madrid has. But among those boos and jeers were the racially abusive slurs that I'm referring to here. They flat out were doing like the ooh chant, like calling him a monkey. So unacceptable. And as the match goes on, the racial abuse just keeps ramping up. It doesn't stop. It just keeps building and building until finally it reached a boiling point or a tipping point in the 73rd minute, where the game actually had to be stopped. Imagine you go to a soccer game. I wasn't there because the game was in Spain, but put yourself in that position. Imagine you're at a soccer game and the game has to be stopped because the crowd is being too racist. In 2023, I have never heard of such a thing until now. And I know that the racist stuff can get out of hand over in Europe when it comes to black players. But I could never imagine being at a soccer game, being at a football match or whatever you want to call it, and they have to stop the game, make an announcement over the loud system, and ask everybody to stop being so racist. I mean, what in the world? What kind of crap is that? And Vinicius, he's used to it because it's been going on all season, pretty much over the last few years, actually. But this is the worst it's ever been. And he's taking a stance against this abuse against him. He confronted some of the fans that were just calling him monkeys and doing the chants at him. But even the TV footage, like you could see scenes from the game where that bared itself out. But when he goes in and confronts those fans, actually all he does is make it worse. That's what's crazy to me. He ended up getting a freaking red card for getting into it over this. That's terrible. And you could think of it as like some kind of crazy home field advantage where your team can get inside an opposing player's head. But there are some things that you just can't do to me that are just beyond the line of normal competition. And obviously being racist against a player to a point where the game has to be stopped is one of those things. The Spanish Football Federation, they have a competition committee. And that competition committee took a really strong stance against Valencia. And this is an unprecedented move for sure. They imposed a partial stadium ban for 5 matches and a fine of 45,000 euros. If you're Valencia, I can understand to some degree why you think that this is a harsh punishment, because what this means to me, how I interpret this, is that they are closing down a portion of the stadium, meaning that Valencia cannot sell those seats going forward for at least the next 5 matches. And then that 45,000 euro fine is the icing on the cake of that. My pushback here is 45,000 euros is pennies in a bank to a club with the size and stature of Valencia Football Club. That's chump change. I don't have it in front of me, but I know for a fact that they have paid a player that wage a week. Or maybe that's the combination of a couple of players' weekly wages. That's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket for them. They got it. Now, I also understand that Valencia is certainly not out here encouraging the fans to act that way and to behave towards opposing players that way. Just like, if you think that about Vinicius, what about any black player that plays for Valencia? So Vinicius is a monkey, but the other black players that play for Valencia aren't? To me, that doesn't make any sense. If you're racist towards Vinicius, then you're racist towards all the black players that play the game. It doesn't work both ways like that. And as I said before, Vinicius got a red card because he got into an altercation with one of the Valencia players. I think his name was Hugo Duro. And the chant of the monkey, they just kept going and going. I've never seen anything get out of hand like that. And the red card that he got actually had to be rescinded by La Liga. And they actually made him eligible to continue to play in the rest of Real Madrid's matches going forward here for the rest of the season, barring injury. You've even had several former players chime in. You've had Valencia's current players chime in just about how disgusting and unacceptable and how terrible it is. Like, I think if La Liga's not careful, what's going to end up happening is they're not going to black players are going to actively not go and play for Real Madrid or play in La Liga at all if that's what they're going to be subject to. It'll happen little by little. Maybe the star players will look up and they'll say, you know what? I want to go play for that team, but it's just too much racism in that league and the players aren't being protected. The players just aren't being protected. You had Valencia's own USMNT's own Yunus Musa even speak out about he had to put a statement of support out for Vinicius. And that's an opposing player that came to his stadium to play in a freaking soccer match. It's crazy. And so I want to end with this. As fans and lovers of the sport, we really need to stand up and take a stand against racism of all forms, not just against black people, but of any kinds of people. Let's just keep the beautiful soccer game and the beautiful soccer environments just that. They need to be their own pure thing. And lastly, before I get out of here, if you are going to be racist, if you are going to be racist against black people, can you please come up with more clever insults than monkey? I think they were doing that in the 1500s. Like, you got to have some sort of originality with your insult game. Step your game up if you're going to be a racist. At least be more creative about things. And that's really where I'm going to end it. But thank you for watching, and remember to take a stand against racism. Peace.